Hello, Amiga coders. We're up to our 30th tutorial, and it's been a long time since I said hello, Amiga coders. But now we're going to start coding again. Specifically, I'm going to make a short tutorial about making your demo play a song. So here's where we were a long time ago. In a galaxy very near to this. So here's our demo. We can reacquaint ourselves with it. We have a section here. We include some symbols for the custom chip register names. Here's our constants for various buffer and graphics sizes. Here's our start. We turn off the operating system. We call our init, which basically just initializes the copper with bitplane pointers and what have you. We start that copper and jump to the main part of the demo, which is the only part of the demo. It's a single part of the demo. It's a single screener. There's just one part. And after we exit by pressing the leftmost button here, we turn the system on again. So we have our module. We've converted it to the player format, and we wish to use the player play routine. First of all, a note: download the archive again if you downloaded it yesterday, because I've updated it. No real functional updates, but I've made it a little more cleaned up and compatible, and renamed some of the options to avoid naming conflicts. In other words, two variables that are named the same. Sometime in the days of yore, someone decided that start was a very good name for a constant in a commonly used play routine. And that's basically it. I also changed a few others. So, where should we call p61 init, which is the subroutine that starts the song, and where should we call p61 end, which stops the song and restores the DMA, song DMA, and so on? Well, it would be logical to put them either side of this main loop, right? So that's what we'll do. First of all, unzip or unarchive the archive that you downloaded. Is at the exact same URL as the previous tutorial 29, and unzip it to a subfolder of Asm School. That's where I put them anyway. And load your source and go to the bottom. Here's our little handy spreadsheet, I guess, for calculating min terms. Everything here is just notes. So first of all, put a bookmark on the line below the last line, Amiga Shift 1. Then move away from that line and then include a file in that subdirectory called p6109 example. We're just going to copy some snippets from the example source. Now, if you know that your song works in mode 1, then all is fine, and all of them do actually. But what I meant to say was, if you know that you want to use this mode instead of the VBlank mode or one of the more optimized modes, then all is fine. All you need to do is copy the options. Control X to cut off the header. Here are the options. Just copy those all the way down to and including the mode that you're using. In our case, mode 1. So all the way down here to the end of those mode specific options, Control X. Remember, we have the bookmark set, so we can press Amiga 1 to get back to this point in the source. And just paste them at the top, basically. Here is a place as any, and go back to Amiga 1, to the bookmark 1, and you can safely delete the other mode options. Here's our code start, and here's where we have the included startup code to turn off the OS in the example. We're going to cut that off, and here's our call to p61 init. We can remove this line because we're not using mode 3 or 4. I mean, it does no harm, but we will not have an address called coppoke in our source, so just cut it off and copy this whole thing to the top again. And we're looking for the call to the main loop, so just paste it before there. Now, here's an important thing. None of the calls to the play routine, p61 init, p61 music, and p61 end, and also p61 set position, neither of those save and restore all registers from the stack. That means that that this subroutine will modify a few registers, and also loading these registers might destroy something that you want to have saved here. Like, for example, we have this ugly, by now ugly, way of saving away registers, and then when we hit the main loop, we save them away. And that's a bit too late in the game. So, what do you do? Well, you put them on the stack. You can copy this. You can put a bookmark, put bookmark 2 here, Amiga Shift 2, and go to main colon, and I accidentally the caps lock. You can copy the line, it's very simple, and down here is where we restore the registers. But as I said, on the way to this main subroutine, register contents can get lost. It's a good idea to wrap unknown subroutines that you put in your demo, whether you wrote them yourself or not. It saves checking which registers they're using. It's a bit of a, I don't know, it's not a waste of time. You're not ray tracing or rendering fractals while you're doing the music initialization. So a few cycles here will not hurt at all. So save all registers, restore all registers. And in between that, you call the init routine. Quick explanation. This is the module address. These are set to 0 because you're not using those options. And this last option is the PAL or NTSC mode. 0 means auto with a preference towards PAL. 1 means PAL and 2 means NTSC for you American listeners out there. So that's the initialization routine done. Then we call our demo, and when we exit it, we want to restore the sound, and that's, I guess, simpler. It will also destroy a bunch of registers, I guess, so do the same thing. I'm saying I guess. I know that they destroy a few registers, maybe a few unimportant registers, and maybe your source already saves and restores all registers just after this. Ours doesn't, so good idea again. Wrap it in save and restore. You can make macros for this. I have a macro called push, and if you don't supply it any parameters, then it saves and restores all registers. Anyway, so push and pop from the good old ZAT days. So there you go. And of course we need to change that to p61 end. Strangely not called exit, but I'm not prepared to go against tradition and rename So P61 end, and this simply stops the background interrupt from playing the music and turns off any sounds that are playing. So that's it. But if we assemble this, of course, it won't find these routines because that's all in our little include file. Where should we put it? Well, we have some sections here. Here's where the chip data section starts after the data here. If you're a purist, you could include it before the data starts. If you want to keep all the code in the same spot. Maybe you have very big declarations here. Maybe you include some graphics. Well, not graphics, but anyway, big data. So either you put it last in the code section, or just before the data in the code section. This is as good a place as any. So, well, we can copy this, set a bookmark, let me shift 2, let me shift 1. Let's see what else we have here. This is where the example routine calls P61 end. And exits the example, and here's a familiar thing. And there's an even command here, and that's important. So why not just copy this whole thing, go back to our bookmark, paste that, and that's our play routine code included. Now the reason for the even command here, I mean now it's unnecessary, but what if you would put a DCB 0 here, then the address would be odd, and when you assemble you'd get an odd address error, and you'd scratch your head and maybe include the text in. Avoiding PC relative, two distant PC relative addresses. I'll put it somewhere. It should be, well, I guess here. Now, of course, if you have a bug in your demo, you should be aware that when you blit to this area, if you have the wrong size value for the blit, it could very well blit into the module. So it's up to you, first or last. Doesn't really matter if you did your job correctly. And if you didn't, all hell breaks loose, and then you get the guru. That's the Amiga way. So anyway, that's our module in the correct section, and we're done with the import. Almost. Because we're going back to the call to the main loop here. And what you want to make sure is that when you restore the DMA here, there could be bits set for the sound channels. Now the P61 end restores that. It should go completely quiet. It will go completely quiet, but maybe only for a few microseconds until some value that you don't know is set here. because you just add these DMA set bit to the value without knowing what it sets. So either you can remove the 4 bits from D3 before setting it, or you can clear the 4 bits manually after setting it. It's not a big deal. I think it's more readable like this. Make sure sound DMA is off. Now, if you had a song playing before you started your demo, then that means that that song will not continue playing after the demo. That's the risk you take. I think it's much better to absolutely know that that no sound will continue playing after your demo exits. Just a safety measure. So that's tutorial 30. So does it work? Well, of course it works. Or it would if we had supplied the correct path. And by the way, I took the liberty of renaming the p61.nudity.mod. Remove the end suffix because it doesn't make much sense. It makes sense here because this mod dot and the dot mod works with all ProTracker versions. But when it's converted, of course, it's a p61 module, so it doesn't make sense. Save that and see if we have sound, Houston. Yeah, we have a bit of work to do before the demo will match the song, I think. Basically, I just made the song on a whim and let whatever thoughts went through my mind lead me to the song that eventually came out. So, but anyway, we're gonna make the demo better in the next tutorial. See you then.